Why do some passengers breeze through TSA in under 5 minutes while you're stuck in line for 45? How does wearing the wrong pants add 15 minutes to your screening time? And what's the reason certain travelers get pulled aside before they even reach the metal detector? These are TSA line mistakes most people make without realizing it, costing you time and triggering unnecessary screening. So I'm breaking down what slows you down, what TSA doesn't announce at checkpoints, and exactly how to get through security efficiently. Let's start with the biggest time saver you can actually control. Mistake 1. Not reserving a time slot for security. Some major airports now offer free security reservation systems with names like DIN Reserve at Denver, CA Spot Saver at Seattle, or MSP Reserve at Minneapolis. These let you skip the long lines entirely by booking a time slot in advance. You visit the airport's website, find their reservation system, pick your time slot, and show up at your scheduled window. Not every airport offers this yet, but major hubs increasingly do. I've used this at Denver International, where the regular line was wrapped around the terminal and my DIN Reserve slot got me through in under 10 minutes. The reason most people don't use it is because they don't know it exists. Airlines don't advertise it. TSA doesn't mention it. But it's there, it's free, and it works. Check your airport's website the night before you fly. Look for terms like reserve, spot saver, or fast lane, along with security wait times. Set it up. And show up at your time. Mistake 2. Not enrolling in TSA PreCheck when you fly regularly. If you fly more than twice a year, TSA PreCheck is worth the cost. You skip long security lines, keep your shoes on, keep your laptop and liquids in your bag, and move through a dedicated lane that's consistently faster. The fee is around $78 for 5 years, which breaks down to about $15 per year. Some credit cards reimburse this fee or include it as a benefit. The application takes about 10 minutes online, then you schedule a short in-person appointment where they verify your identity and take fingerprints. Once approved, your known traveler number goes on every boarding pass and you're cleared for the PreCheck lane. Is it necessary? No. But if you value your time and you're tired of unpacking your bag, removing your shoes, and waiting in long lines, it pays for itself immediately. And for travelers over 65, the time and physical ease of not bending down to untie shoes or lift heavy bags onto the belt makes an even bigger difference. Mistake 3. Not knowing the frozen liquid loophole. TSA's liquid rule says you can't bring liquids over 100 milliliters through security. But freeze a water bottle overnight and bring it through while it's still frozen solid. TSA considers it a solid at that point, not a liquid. Once you're through security, it melts and you have a cold drink for your flight without paying $8 for airport water. Same applies to breast milk, medications, baby formula, anything that can be frozen. The key word is completely solid. If it's slushy or partially melted, they'll classify it as a liquid and confiscate it. So make sure it's frozen hard before you pack it. I've done this on dozens of flights. Frozen water bottle in my bag, walks right through the scanner, no questions asked. Declare it to TSA if needed, but this is a legitimate workaround that's been documented in their own guidelines. Mistake 4. Following the crowd to the right. When you approach security lanes, most people instinctively veer right. It's human nature. Right-handed dominance means most travelers naturally drift that direction. TSA knows this. The right side lanes are almost always more crowded. If you intentionally veer left when choosing your lane, you'll often find shorter, faster-moving lines. I've watched this happen at airports for years. The left lanes have 5 people waiting. The right lanes have 20. Everyone just follows the person in front of them without thinking. Break the pattern. Look at the actual line lengths, not where the crowd is going. And if you see a lane that looks empty, don't assume it's closed. Sometimes they're newly opened and travelers haven't noticed yet. Ask the TSA agent if it's open. You might just walk right up to an active lane with no wait. Now let me tell you what's actually happening while you're waiting in that line, because most travelers have no idea. Mistake 5. Sitting in surveillance zones without realizing it. Those benches near the security checkpoint aren't just there for your convenience. Some seats in security areas are deliberately positioned in surveillance zones equipped with hidden cameras and microphones. TSA monitors passengers closely in these areas, watching behavior, listening to conversations, and flagging anything that seems unusual. You sit down to tie your shoe or check your phone, and you might be on camera with audio recording running. Most people assume cameras are visible and obvious. They're not. Modern airport surveillance uses concealed equipment that looks like regular ceiling fixtures, air vents, or even decorative elements. The goal is to observe passengers in their natural state when they think no one is watching. If you're having a phone conversation about your travel plans, complaining about security procedures, or even joking about something that could be misinterpreted, someone may be listening. Does this mean you should be paranoid about every seat? No, but it does mean you should be aware that security screening actually begins before you reach the checkpoint. Watch what you say, especially near TSA areas. Skip those benches if you need to have a private conversation. Mistake 6. Not understanding why security lines feel so slow. Ever notice how you feel slower and more compliant once you step into the security line, even when you're in a hurry? That's not accidental. Airports deliberately use carpet in security areas to create what's called cognitive friction. When you step from hard tile or polished floors onto soft carpet, the texture change registers in your brain. Your walking pace naturally slows down. Your mental state shifts. You become more cautious, more compliant, easier to direct. TSA isn't going to announce this, but it's an intentional design choice used at airports worldwide. The carpet also dampens noise, which keeps the environment calmer and reduces the anxiety that can make passengers difficult to manage. So what looks like a comfort feature is actually a crowd control tactic. You can't avoid the carpet, but knowing why it's there helps you stay mentally sharp. Don't let the environmental manipulation make you forget items or miss instructions. Mistake 7. Assuming all passengers are treated the same. They're not. Airport staff receive advanced profiles on passengers before you ever reach security. These are TSA procedures in the United States, though many countries use similar security protocols with slight variations. If you're a VIP, a frequent flyer with status, or someone flagged for past issues, TSA knows before you hand over your boarding pass. The system pulls data from previous flights, airline loyalty programs, and yes, incident reports. Someone who caused a scene at security 6 months ago? That's in the system. Someone who's flown first class internationally 20 times this year? Also in the system. This doesn't mean you're being discriminated against, but it does mean certain travelers get extra attention or scrutiny based on factors you can't see. A passenger with no travel history might get a more thorough screening simply because the system has no data to assess risk. The takeaway isn't to be offended by this. It's to understand that your behavior at airports has a paper trail. Be polite, follow instructions. Don't argue with TSA agents. Because everything you do can be documented and affect your next trip. Mistake 8. Not realizing facial recognition is already watching you. Some airports use facial recognition AI to identify potential threats before you even reach the gate. The cameras scan faces in crowds, compare them against databases, and flag individuals for additional screening. You might think facial recognition happens at passport control or when you board. It's happening much earlier, in baggage claim, near ticket counters, and in security queues. The technology has advanced to the point where it works even if you're wearing glasses, a hat, or looking down at your phone. Is this legal? Yes. Is it disclosed? Sometimes buried in airport policy documents most people never read. Different airports have different policies, and international airports tend to use more advanced systems than domestic ones. What can you do about this? Honestly, not much. The systems are passive. You can't opt out just by avoiding cameras because they're everywhere. But you should know it's happening, especially if you're someone who values privacy. Mistake 9. Being surprised when asked to rub your hands on a cloth. Airport security may ask you to rub your hands on a cloth so they can scan for trace chemicals of dangerous substances. The cloth goes into a machine that detects explosives, narcotics, and other materials. This isn't random. You might be selected because you fit a certain profile or because the scanner detected something on your bag or simply because TSA is running routine checks throughout the day. Some travelers panic when this happens, assuming it means they're suspected of something. It doesn't. It's standard procedure. But here's the mistake people make. They touch their luggage, their shoes, their belongings right before this test. If you've been handling your suitcase that rolled through who knows what on airport floors, bathroom stalls, or city streets, and then you rub your hands on that cloth, you might trigger a positive result for trace contaminants. Not because you have anything dangerous, but because airports are dirty and you've been touching contaminated surfaces. If you're asked to do the hand swab, stay calm. Don't touch anything immediately before. And if you do get a positive result, don't argue. Let them investigate. The secondary screening will clear it up, and resistance only makes it worse. Those are the things happening behind the scenes that most travelers never notice. Now let's talk about the mistakes you're making with what you wear, because this is where people create their own problems without realizing it. Mistake 10. Wearing complicated shoes. Shoes with laces, buckles, straps, or complicated fastenings slow you down at security. You have to untie them, remove them, put them through the scanner, then put them back on while people wait behind you. And if you're bending down repeatedly to tie laces, it's uncomfortable and time-consuming. Choose slip-on shoes for travel. Loafers, slip-on sneakers, or elastic-sided shoes that you can kick off and slide back on in seconds. I watched a man at Reagan National spend nearly 4 minutes trying to retie his hiking boots while the line backed up behind him. His face was red, he was frustrated, and everyone was waiting. It's unnecessary. Your shoes matter more than you think. And here's a related mistake: wearing sandals or flip-flops. Yes, they're easy to remove, but then you're walking barefoot on airport floors that have been walked on by thousands of people. Bathroom shoes, dirty socks, who knows what else? Those floors are not clean. If you must wear sandals, wear socks with them to protect your feet from germs and speed up the process. But slip-on shoes with socks is your best option. Mistake 11. Wearing pants that require a belt. Belts have to come off at security. If you're wearing pants that don't stay up without a belt, you're creating a problem. You remove the belt, your pants sag, you're holding them up with one hand while trying to collect your belongings with the other. It's awkward and slow. Instead, wear joggers, stretch-fit chinos, or elastic waist pants that stay up on their own. No belt needed. You walk through the scanner without worrying about your pants falling down. This seems like a minor detail, but when you're traveling, minor details compound into major hassle. And if you're someone with mobility issues or back problems, bending over to remove and replace a belt repeatedly is genuinely uncomfortable. Mistake 12. Not using a jacket with large pockets. Wear or carry a jacket with large pockets to hold all your essentials. Wallet, phone, passport, keys, coins, everything. When you reach security, remove the jacket and send it through the scanner with everything still in the pockets. You're not juggling multiple items. You're not dropping things. You're not forgetting your phone in the bin. I do this every single flight. Jacket comes off, goes in the bin with everything inside that would otherwise trigger the metal detector. On the other side, I put it back on and keep moving. Total time saved compared to emptying 8 pockets into a bin and trying to remember what goes where. Easily 5 minutes. And you don't lose small items in the chaos. Mistake 13. Wearing cargo pants or multi-pocket vests. Clothing with too many pockets increases the chance of triggering pat-downs. TSA sees cargo pants with 6 pockets, and they assume you might have something in one of them. Even if the pockets are empty, the extra fabric seams and bulk can look suspicious on the scanner. Multi-pocket vests, tactical pants, or anything with excessive storage creates the same problem. You don't need 12 pockets for a flight. Keep it simple. Standard pants, standard jacket. The less visual clutter on the scanner image, the faster you move through. Mistake 14. Wearing excessive metal accessories. Flashy belt buckles, studded jackets, metal-tipped boots, heavy jewelry. All of it triggers metal detectors and leads to pat-downs. I've watched people set off alarms because they forgot about their decorative belt buckle or their boots with metal toe caps. TSA will pull you aside, run the hand wand over you, potentially pat you down, and delay your process. Skip the metal when you travel. Wear a simple belt buckle or no belt. Choose boots without metal accents. Leave the heavy jewelry at home or pack it in your checked bag. Travel isn't a fashion show, and the 10 minutes you save by not triggering additional screening is worth wearing plain accessories. Mistake 15. Wearing flowy pants or maxi skirts. Loose, flowing clothing slows you down and can cause issues at security. Maxi skirts can drag on dirty floors, get caught on things, and create awkward situations when TSA needs to do additional screening. If you prefer wearing a skirt, consider layering shorts underneath so you're covered if you need to move quickly or if the scanner requires additional checks. The goal is mobility and efficiency. Tight-fitting or structured clothing scans more clearly and moves through faster. Mistake 16. Wearing headphones through the scanner. Remove headphones before you reach the scanner to avoid delays. TSA will ask you to take them off anyway, and fumbling with wires or Bluetooth earbuds while you're supposed to be moving through just holds up the line. Take them off early, put them in your jacket pocket or your bag, and keep moving. Now let's shift to what you're doing wrong with your actual bags and belongings. Mistake 17. Not preparing your trays efficiently. When you reach the bins, you need a system. Don't wait until you're at the front of the line to start thinking about what goes where. Note that these plastic bins are sometimes called trays at other airports or in other countries, but the process is the same. Here's the efficient order. Jacket and shoes in one bin. Bag on the belt. Electronics and liquids in another bin if needed. Stack your bins so the TSA agent can slide them onto the belt quickly. And don't overfill bins. If you pile everything into one bin and it's too heavy or unbalanced, it can jam the conveyor and slow down the entire line. I've seen this happen repeatedly. Someone throws their bag, shoes, jacket, and laptop into one bin, it tips over on the belt. Everything has to be rescanned. Use multiple bins. Keep them organized. Move quickly but deliberately. Mistake 18. Overpacking your carry-on to avoid checked bag fees. If your carry-on is so stuffed that you can barely zip it, TSA might need to search it. Overpacked bags look suspicious on scanners because items are compressed and overlapping, making it hard to identify what's inside. And if they pull your bag for a search, you're standing there watching a TSA agent unpack your entire life while people stare. Pack your carry-on neatly. Leave some space. Use packing cubes to organize items so they're easy to identify on the scanner. A well-organized bag moves through security faster and avoids unnecessary searches. Mistake 19. Not watching your belongings. Security lines are high distraction environments. You're focused on bins, removing shoes, following instructions. That's when theft happens. Distraction theft targeting travelers over 60 has increased in recent years. Keep your bag in sight. Don't put your phone or wallet in a bin and then turn your back. Watch your belongings all the way through the scanner. And once you collect your items on the other side, step away from the belt before repacking. Don't stand directly at the end of the conveyor trying to put your shoes on while your bag sits unattended. Move to a bench, organize your things, then continue to your gate. I saw a woman at LaGuardia lose her iPad because she set it in a bin, went through the scanner, then spent 2 minutes putting her shoes back on at the belt exit while someone behind her grabbed the iPad and walked away. By the time she realized it was gone, the person had vanished into the terminal. Mistake 20. Not having your boarding pass and ID ready. You need your boarding pass and ID accessible before you reach the TSA agent. Not buried in your bag. Not in your jacket pocket under 3 other items. In your hand, ready to present. I've watched people hold up the line digging through purses and backpacks looking for their ID while everyone waits. Have it ready. And if you're using a mobile boarding pass, make sure your phone is unlocked and the pass is pulled up before you reach the agent. Don't be fumbling with your phone at the checkpoint. Mistake 21. Not checking TSA's prohibited items list before packing. TSA updates the prohibited items list regularly. What was allowed last year might not be allowed this year. Before you pack, check tsa.gov for the current list. Electric toothbrushes, for example, have recently been flagged in certain situations. Makeup items have new restrictions. Prescription medications have specific packing requirements. If you show up with prohibited items, you'll either have to throw them away or miss your flight going back to check them. 5 minutes of research before you pack saves you from that scenario. Here's what to do when things don't go as planned. Mistake 22. Panicking during additional screening. If you're selected for a pat-down or bag search, stay calm. It doesn't mean you did anything wrong. Sometimes it's random. Sometimes the scanner detected something that needs clarification. Sometimes it's because of what you're wearing or what's in your bag. Cooperate fully. Answer questions directly. Don't volunteer unnecessary information or get defensive. The process will go faster if you're calm and compliant. And if you have a medical device, mobility aid, or anything that might require explanation, tell the TSA agent up front. I have a knee replacement or I have a pacemaker helps them understand what they're seeing on the scanner. Communication prevents confusion. Mistake 23. Arguing or questioning TSA procedures in line. If you disagree with a rule or don't understand why something is required, comply first and ask questions later. Arguing with a TSA agent in the security line accomplishes nothing except delaying everyone behind you and potentially flagging you for additional screening. TSA agents don't make the rules, they enforce them. If you have a legitimate concern about a procedure, you can file a complaint or ask to speak with a supervisor after you're through security. But holding up the line to debate the logic of the 3-ounce liquid rule isn't going to change policy, and it will absolutely make your experience worse. Be polite, follow instructions, get through security, then address concerns through proper channels. Mistake 24. Displaying nervous behavior. TSA agents are trained to watch for behavioral cues. Excessive sweating, avoiding eye contact, fidgeting, appearing overly nervous. These things can trigger additional attention. Now, some people are just anxious flyers, and that's fine. But if you're acting suspicious because you're worried about getting through security, you're creating a self-fulfilling problem. Take a breath. Remind yourself you've done nothing wrong. Make normal eye contact. Follow instructions calmly. Most people get through security without any issues because they're not displaying behavior that raises flags. Mistake 25. Arriving too close to your boarding time. TSA recommends arriving 2 hours early for domestic flights, 3 hours for international. That's not a suggestion. That's accounting for security delays, unexpected lines, and the reality that airports are unpredictable. If you arrive an hour before your flight thinking you'll breeze through security, and the line is 45 minutes long, you've just created a stressful situation where you're now rushing, making mistakes, and potentially missing your flight. Build in buffer time. Even if security is fast, you can sit at your gate and relax. That's better than sprinting through the terminal. So those are the TSA line mistakes most travelers make. Now you know how the system works behind the scenes and exactly how to move through efficiently without triggering additional screening. Click here to see more travel tips.